Space is a huge and mysterious part of our universe, and we still do not know everything about it. There are billions of stars, strange planets, black holes, and events that seem like something from science fiction. In this video, we collected 50 amazing facts about space that will help you see the universe in a new way. Some facts may seem unbelievable, and some might even make you think about how huge our world really is. Let's begin. Fact 1. Space is completely silent. In outer space, it is impossible to hear sounds the way we hear them on Earth because sound waves need air, water, or another medium to travel. In space, there are almost no particles to carry vibrations. That is why, if two astronauts are far away from each other without radio communication, they would not be able to shout or talk directly. Even if they were very close, all the loud explosions and space battle sounds shown in movies would actually happen in complete silence. This makes real space both amazing and a little scary. Fact 2. Venus is hotter than Mercury. Many people think Mercury should be the hottest planet in the solar system because it is the closest to the Sunday. However, Venus actually holds the record, with surface temperatures reaching around 470 degrees Celsius. This happens because Venus has an extremely thick atmosphere made mostly of carbon dioxide, which creates a very powerful greenhouse effect and traps heat inside the planet like a giant greenhouse. Scientists see Venus as one of the best examples of how climate can get out of control. Fact 3. Gravity on the moon is much weaker than on Earth. Gravity on the moon is about 6 times weaker than on Earth. That is why astronauts from the Apollo missions moved in strange jumps, almost like they were in slow motion. If a person weighs 90 kilograms on Earth, on the moon they would feel as if they weighed only around 15 kilograms. This would make it much easier to lift heavy objects and jump higher. However, weak gravity also causes problems for the human body because muscles and bones start to lose strength without normal pressure. Fact 4. A day on Venus is longer than a year. Venus spins so slowly that one full day on the planet lasts about 243 Earth days, while one trip around the Sun takes only about 225 Earth days. This creates an incredible fact. A year on Venus ends faster than a single day. Venus also spins in the opposite direction compared to most planets in the solar system. This means that if a person could stand on its surface, they would see the sun rise in the west and set in the east. Fact 5. Jupiter has a giant storm. On Jupiter, there is a famous storm called the Great Red Spot, a huge hurricane that astronomers have been watching for hundreds of years. The storm is so large that Earth could fit inside it, and wind speeds there reach hundreds of kilometers per hour. Scientists still do not fully understand why this storm has lasted for so long, because on Earth, storms like this disappear much faster. Fact 6. Saturn could float in water. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system, but its average density is so low that, in theory, it could float in a giant ocean of water if such an ocean even existed. Of course, creating a body of water that huge is impossible in real life, but the idea sounds so unusual that it makes Saturn one of the most fascinating planets. Most of its volume is made up of hydrogen and helium, which keeps it relatively light for its massive size. Fact 7. Time works differently in space. According to Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, time doesn't pass the same way for everything and can slow down at very high speeds or near massive objects. That's why astronauts on the International Space Station actually age a tiny bit slower than people on Earth, although the difference is too small to notice without special instruments. Scientists have confirmed this effect many times, and it's even used in GPS satellites, which have to account for time distortion to work accurately. Fact 8. Footprints on the moon can last for millions of years. The moon has almost no atmosphere, which means there's no wind, rain, or other natural forces that slowly erase footprints like on Earth. That's why the boot prints left by astronauts during the Apollo missions could stay on the moon for millions of years, unless a meteor hits them. In a way, human footprints on the moon could outlast entire civilizations on Earth. Fact 9. The sun holds almost all the mass in the solar system. The sun is so massive that it contains about 99.8% of all the mass in the solar system, while all the planets, moons, comets, and asteroids make up only a tiny fraction. Its powerful gravity keeps everything orbiting around it. Basically, our solar system is one giant star with a bunch of much smaller objects moving around it. Fact 10. Neptune has the strongest winds. Neptune is incredibly far from the sun and is one of the coldest planets in the solar system, yet it has the strongest winds ever discovered on any planet. These storms can reach speeds of over 2,000 kilometers per hour, which is faster than the speed of sound on Earth. Scientists are still trying to figure out where such a cold and distant planet gets the energy for this kind of extreme weather. Fact 11. Space smells like metal and welding. Astronauts who returned from spacewalks said their spacesuits smelled like hot metal, welding, or even a burnt steak. Scientists believe this happens because high-energy particles interact with the surface of the suits and create unusual chemical reactions. While people can't actually smell anything in the vacuum of space, these particles are carried back inside the station on the suits. Fact 12. Mars has the tallest volcano. Mars is home to Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the entire solar system. It's about 3 times taller than Mount Everest. The volcano is so massive that someone standing on the Martian surface wouldn't even be able to see the whole thing because of the planet's curve. Scientists believe its huge size is due to Mars's weaker gravity and the lack of moving tectonic plates like we have on Earth. Fact 13. Black holes can slow down time. A black hole's gravity is so incredibly strong that time moves much slower near it compared to places farther away. If someone could somehow get close to a black hole and then return, they might find that decades, centuries, or even thousands of years had passed on Earth. Effects like this are one reason black holes are considered some of the most mysterious and terrifying objects in the universe. Fact 14. Diamond planets might exist in space. Scientists think there may be planets in the universe whose internal structure contains huge amounts of crystallized carbon, meaning a large part of these worlds could actually be made of diamond. Some of these exoplanets may have formed near stars that survived massive explosions, creating the perfect pressure and temperature for giant diamond layers to form. If humanity ever reached a planet like this, its wealth would be beyond anything found on Earth. Fact 15. Sunlight doesn't reach Earth instantly. Even though light travels incredibly fast, it still takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to travel from the sun to Earth. That means people never see the sun exactly as it is right now, they see it as it was a few minutes ago. If the sun suddenly disappeared, humanity wouldn't know immediately, but only after those same 8 minutes had passed. Fact 16. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. Astronomers estimate that the number of stars in the universe is so huge that it's greater than the number of grains of sand on all the beaches, shores, and deserts on Earth. The Milky Way alone may contain hundreds of billions of stars, and there are billions of galaxies like it across the universe. Thinking about numbers this big really shows how tiny Earth is compared to the endlessness of space. Fact 17. Neutron stars are incredibly dense. Neutron stars form after massive stars explode and are considered some of the densest objects in the universe. Just 1 teaspoon of material from a neutron star could weigh as much as a huge mountain on Earth because the matter inside is compressed to an almost unimaginable level. Their gravity is so powerful that they can even bend light around them. Fact 18. Astronauts get taller in space. When people are in zero gravity, their spine no longer feels the constant pressure of gravity and slowly stretches out. That's why astronauts can grow a few centimeters taller after spending just a few days in space. But once they return to Earth, their bodies adjust to gravity again, and their height goes back to normal. Fact 19. Moonquakes happen on the moon. Even though the moon looks calm and completely still, movements still happen beneath its surface. Scientists call these moonquakes. Some are caused by Earth's gravity, while others happen after meteorites hit the moon. Interestingly, moonquakes can last much longer than earthquakes because the moon's internal structure spreads vibrations differently. Fact 20. A year on Neptune takes an incredibly long time. Neptune is so far from the sun that it takes about 165 Earth years to complete just one orbit around it. That means a person would barely be able to experience even a single Neptune year in their lifetime. Since its discovery in the 19th century, Neptune has completed only a little more than one full orbit around the Sunday. Fact 21. The International Space Station moves faster than a bullet. The International Space Station travels around Earth at about 28,000 kilometers per hour, which allows it to complete one orbit in roughly an hour and a half. Because of this speed, astronauts can see around 16 sunrises and sunsets in just one Earth day. Even though it moves incredibly fast, people inside the station barely feel it because everything around them is moving at the same speed. Fact 22. Uranus spins almost on its side. Most planets rotate more or less upright, but Uranus is very different from the rest of the solar system. Its axis is tilted so much that the planet almost looks like it's lying on its side and rolling around the Sunday. Scientists think a huge space object may have crashed into Uranus long ago and knocked it over. Fact 23. Some stars are much bigger than the Sun. There are giant stars in the universe that are hundreds or even thousands of times larger than the Sunday. If one of these stars were placed at the center of our solar system, it could swallow the orbits of several planets. These cosmic giants are so enormous that it's hard for the human mind to truly imagine their size. Fact 24. Sunsets on Mars are blue. On Earth, sunsets are usually red or orange, but on Mars, it's the opposite. Because of the planet's atmosphere and the huge amount of fine dust, Martian sunsets have a bluish color, which looks incredibly unusual. If a person stood on the surface of the red planet, they would see a very unfamiliar evening sky. Fact 25. You can't see a black hole directly. Black holes don't emit light, so they can't be seen the way we see stars or planets. Scientists detect them by observing how they affect the space around them, bend light, and pull in nearby matter. Even the first famous image of a black hole doesn't actually show the black hole itself, it shows the glowing material surrounding it. Fact 26. The universe is constantly expanding. After the Big Bang, the universe didn't stop. It kept expanding in all directions, causing galaxies to slowly move farther away from each other. In general, the farther a galaxy is from Earth, the faster it moves away. Scientists are still trying to understand what force is causing the expansion of the universe to speed up over time. Fact 27. Some planets might have diamond rain. Scientists believe that the pressure and temperature inside the atmospheres of Neptune and Uranus are so extreme that carbon could turn into real diamonds. According to one theory, these crystals may literally fall like rain, except instead of water, precious stones fall from the sky. It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie, but modern scientific models suggest it could actually happen. Fact 28. The solar system is constantly moving through the galaxy. While Earth and the other planets orbit the Sun, the entire solar system is also racing around the center of the Milky Way at an incredible speed. One full orbit takes about 230 million Earth years, which means that during the time of the dinosaurs, our solar system was in a completely different part of the galaxy. Even though we're moving incredibly fast, people don't notice it because everything around us moves together with Earth. Fact 29. There are lonely planets in the universe. Some planets don't orbit stars at all and travel through space completely alone. These are called rogue planets. Scientists think many of them were thrown out of their solar systems after powerful collisions or gravitational disasters. These worlds drift through total darkness with almost no light or heat, making them some of the most mysterious objects in the universe. Fact 30. A huge ocean may be hidden beneath Europa's surface. Europa, one of Jupiter's largest moons, is covered by a thick layer of ice. Scientists believe that beneath this frozen shell, there may be a giant ocean of liquid water containing even more water than all the oceans on Earth combined. That's why Europa is considered one of the most promising places to search for extraterrestrial life in our solar system. Fact 31. Space can be almost as cold as absolute zero. In the coldest regions of space, temperatures can drop close to absolute zero, the point where atoms barely move at all. That's around minus 273 degrees Celsius, an extreme kind of cold that's almost impossible to imagine in everyday life. Even the coldest places on Earth seem warm compared to some parts of outer space. Fact 32. Pluto is smaller than some moons. Pluto used to be considered a full planet, but scientists later discovered that it's much smaller than many other objects in the solar system. For example, Jupiter's moon Ganymede is much larger than Pluto, and is even bigger than Mercury. Discovering many similar objects was one of the reasons Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. Fact 33. Some comets smell really bad. Space missions studying comets found chemicals that are linked to some pretty unpleasant smells here on Earth. These include compounds similar to rotten eggs, ammonia, and even spoiled alcohol. It's another reminder that real space probably looks and feels a lot less romantic than movies make it seem. Fact 34. Lightning exists beyond Earth. Powerful lightning storms have been detected not only on Earth but also on other planets, including Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. Some of these lightning bolts are far more powerful than thunderstorms on Earth. Scientists continue studying them to better understand how the atmospheres of other worlds work. Fact 35. The universe contains structures of incredible size. Some cosmic structures are made up of thousands of galaxies held together by gravity in massive clusters so huge they're hard to imagine. Light takes billions of years to cross some of these regions of space, and light is the fastest thing in the universe. Realizing scales like this makes Earth seem unbelievably tiny. Fact 36. Even a small asteroid could destroy a city. If a relatively small asteroid hit Earth at a high speed, the effects could be devastating for an entire region or even a country. A collision like this millions of years ago is believed to be one of the main reasons dinosaurs disappeared. That's why space agencies constantly monitor potentially dangerous objects passing near Earth. Fact 37. Saturn has a huge number of moons. Saturn has dozens of moons, and one of the most fascinating is Titan, a world with a thick atmosphere, rivers and lakes made of liquid methane. Some scientists believe Titan is one of the strangest places in the solar system because it feels both familiar and completely alien at the same time. Studying this moon helps scientists understand what the early stages of Earth may have looked like. Fact 38. Space is filled with dangerous radiation. Beyond Earth's magnetic field, radiation levels become much higher and pose a serious risk to the human body. That's one of the reasons why long missions to Mars and other planets are considered so difficult. Astronauts would have to spend months exposed to cosmic radiation. Scientists are already working on special protection technologies that could help people travel safely through the solar system in the future. Fact 39. The sun will one day become a red giant. Right now, the sun seems stable and calm, but in several billion years, it will start running out of hydrogen and begin expanding rapidly. During this stage, the sun will turn into a red giant and may swallow nearby planets, including Mercury and Venus, while conditions on Earth will become completely unsuitable for life. Even though this won't happen anytime soon, studying processes like this helps scientists understand the life cycle of stars. Fact 40. Quasars exist in the universe. Quasars are considered some of the brightest objects in the observable universe and are found at the centers of extremely distant galaxies. Their incredible brightness comes from supermassive black holes consuming huge amounts of matter and releasing enormous energy. Some quasars shine brighter than hundreds of normal galaxies combined, making them true cosmic beacons. Fact 41. There's water on the moon. For a long time, scientists believed the moon was completely dry, but modern research has found ice hidden inside shadowed craters near its poles. This water could be incredibly important for future space missions because it could potentially be used for drinking water, oxygen, and even fuel. That's one reason many countries are already planning permanent bases on the moon. Fact 42. Jupiter is called a failed star. Jupiter is so massive that scientists sometimes call it a failed star, although it still doesn't have enough mass for real nuclear fusion to begin. If the planet were dozens of times heavier, processes that power normal stars could have started inside it. In that case, our solar system might have had two suns instead of one. Fact 43. Fire looks completely different in zero gravity. On Earth, flames always rise upward because of the movement of hot air, but in zero gravity, this normal convection disappears. That's why fire in space takes the shape of an almost perfect sphere and looks completely different from what we're used to seeing. Experiments like these help scientists better understand combustion and develop safer technology for spacecraft. Fact 44. Some planets orbit two stars. There are actually planets in the universe where you could see two suns in the sky at the same time. These worlds orbit binary star systems and feel like something straight out of science fiction movies or books. Scientists have already discovered many of these exoplanets, proving that space can be even stranger than we imagine. Fact 45. Space junk is becoming a serious problem. Thousands of pieces of debris from old satellites and past missions are currently orbiting Earth. Even a tiny piece of metal can seriously damage a spacecraft because all these objects move at extremely high speeds. If the amount of space junk keeps growing, future space travel could become much more dangerous. Fact 46. Venus is the brightest planet in the night sky. Thanks to its thick clouds, Venus reflects a huge amount of sunlight and becomes the brightest object in the night sky after the moon. Sometimes, it can even be seen during the day if you know where to look. Because of its unusual brightness, people have often mistaken Venus for a mysterious flying object or even a UFO. Fact 47. Rivers once flowed on Mars. Mars still has huge dried-up riverbeds, canyons, and signs of ancient water flows, showing that the red planet had a very different climate billions of years ago. Scientists believe Mars may once have had lakes, rivers, and maybe even oceans. That's why researchers continue searching for signs of ancient life there. Fact 48. Telescopes let us see the past. When astronomers observe very distant galaxies, they're actually looking back in time because light takes millions or even billions of years to travel through space. This means some objects appear to us as they existed before Earth, and even the solar system had formed. The farther away a galaxy is, the older the version of the universe we're able to see. Fact 49. A giant black hole sits at the center of our galaxy. At the very center of the Milky Way lies a supermassive black hole called Sagittarius A, with a mass millions of times greater than the Sun's. Despite its enormous size, it's so far from Earth that it poses no danger to humanity. Scientists continue studying how it affects the movement of stars and the structure of our galaxy. Fact 50. Humans are literally made of stardust. Almost all the heavy elements in the human body, including iron, calcium, and oxygen, were once created inside ancient stars. After powerful explosions, these materials spread across space and billions of years later became part of planets, oceans, and living things. In a way, every person on Earth is literally made from matter born inside distant stars. Space is far bigger, stranger, and more mysterious than we can fully imagine. The more scientists explore the universe, the more incredible discoveries they make, from planets with possible diamond rain to black holes that can bend time itself. And even though humanity has already learned a lot, we've only scratched the surface of what's out there. Maybe one day people will live on other planets, travel between stars, or finally answer one of the biggest questions of all: are we alone in the universe? But for now, the cosmos remains a place full of mystery, wonder, and endless possibilities, reminding us just how amazing the universe really is.